Hey everyone, it's Kat here, and I'm here to do a labor and delivery, finally. Um, so, let me get this here, sorry. First I'll show you little Caitlin. She's right here, she's eating right now. Yeah, wide awake. So I'm going to start my labor and delivery. Basically on August 30th, around 2 a.m. I woke up with it felt like bad menstrual cramps, and I didn't really think anything of it because I had been having worse pain the days before, and they were all false alarms, nothing happening. And so then I let it go for a couple hours. I just kind of walked around because I started laying down, they would get worse, and I was like, hey, that helps when I walk around. And so I did that, and it didn't help, got worse and worse, and they hit me at 2 minutes apart right away. There was no easing into it. They were 2 minutes apart the whole time. So that's what kind of made me think it was menstrual cramps at first, because I was like, well, they're happening too frequently for it to be labor, the beginning of labor, because they shouldn't be hitting me 2 minutes apart exactly at the same time. So I kept letting them go about 2 hours before I woke anyone up, because I didn't wake up my stepmom. I just kind of was walking around. Trying to eat something, doing something to kind of get my mind off of it. But nothing helped, obviously, and around 4 a.m. is when I woke up my stepmom, and then I called the dad. And from there, we went to the hospital, because it was getting to the point where I wasn't being able to walk through them, and I couldn't really talk through them. I had to stop and brace myself and deal with it, and they last about half a minute to a minute. And so we got to the hospital around 4:30 after we rushed around getting my siblings' lunches ready and making sure everything was out for my dad to get them ready for school and take them to school that day. So we were getting everything ready, and finally we got to the hospital around 4:30 a.m. where it took probably, my stepmom was down there giving them my information for about 15 minutes before she got up to my room. And what happened was they gave me a gown, they gave me stuff, they told me to undress and lay on the bed, and they'll hook me up to the monitors. And so they hooked me up to the monitors, and I want to say around 5:30 or 6 is when they admitted me into the hospital, saying that yes, I was in labor and I was staying here. So, and the dad had got there around 4:45. So, and I was getting the contractions pretty strong, then I wanted to be up and moving, but throughout my whole pregnancy I had problems with my blood pressure being too high. So, they were taking my blood pressure, and they put me on magnesium sulfate to help my blood pressure, because with my blood pressure being as high as it was, they didn't want me having seizures or anything like that to happen. Sorry, my hair is a mess. And I was like, no, I don't feel like having a seizure today. Sorry. So, they put me on that, and at first they couldn't find the IV, or the veins in the top of my arm. They couldn't find any of those. And so they had to give me an IV where they would normally draw blood. So the whole time I was in labor, for 18 hours, well, I was there for 16 hours. So 16 hours of labor, I had to have my arm perfectly straight, because I couldn't bend it, or else they'd have to poke me again and re-stick the IV and all this stuff. And being on the magnesium, I couldn't move around at all. I was stuck in the bed the whole time, which probably slowed down my labor, because I couldn't get up and move around like I wanted to. And so for a while I was on that, and around 6:45, I think it was, they put me on, or I asked for some medicine to kind of ease the pain, and let me sleep a little bit because I was really tired. I didn't even go to bed until that night, or the night before, until around 11:45, and I got up at 2 with these pains and was up since. And I figured I might want to get a tiny bit of sleep in. So, I asked for some pain. I forget what it was called, but it lasted for 2 hours, and it helped to where I could sleep for a while. And I remember waking up around 7:15 and then asking me if I wanted the epidural. And at that point, I was like, well, I don't need it right now. I don't feel like I need the epidural. It's not as bad as I wanted it to get before I got the epidural. But then I talked about it with the dad because originally we wanted to be up and moving around, and if I got the epidural, I would have been stuck to the bed. But I was stuck to the bed with this IV anyway. They wouldn't let me move because the magnesium kind of makes you feel like they described it drunk. So they didn't want me moving around. So we said, go ahead and get it. So around 7:30 is when the anesthesiologist came in, and I got the epidural then. And I think I was about 3.5 to 4 centimeters at that point. I wasn't far along at all. And, so then after that, I didn't feel anything. It kicked in, like, right away. The only thing I felt, was the numbing shot, and it kind of stung, but it didn't hurt at all, like, getting the shot. I'm terrified of needles. I will just tell you that right now. I'm terrified of needles. And this didn't really hurt me at all, really. So, that tells you a lot, because I am a wimp, and, I am a wimp when it comes to needles. I will literally faint at the sight of a needle, so I didn't look at the needle. I told him not to show me. He wanted to tell me what was going on, and I just told him, don't tell me, just do it. Talk to me about the weather, or talk to me about something else, just not this. Not what you're about to do. Just tell me you're going to give me a numbing shot and give me the epidural, and I'll feel all good. So then right away it kicked in, which was great, and it lasted a while. And then once I got to 8 centimeters is when I started feeling the contractions again, which was around 1:30-ish. And, so I started kind of feeling them there. Then it felt like the menstrual cramps I had before. And so I started feeling it, and I started pushing the button more. That gave you more of the epidural. And then around 2:30, 2:45-ish, I felt pressure, and they told me I was 9.5 centimeters then. And so I couldn't push yet, but I felt like I had to push. And for the longest time, until around 3:30, they were telling me I can't push yet because I still had a tiny bit at, like, the top of my cervix that needed to dilate, and it was only at the top. So I was fighting that, and I was having trouble fighting that because I was having such the urge to push. It wasn't even funny. So then around 3:30 is when I started pushing, and I didn't have her until 7:09 that night. So throughout that whole time, I don't really remember much at that point, which I'm kind of glad I don't remember much about that point, because she got stuck in my pelvic bone, which was what kind of made which delayed having her for 3.5 hours. And they didn't even call the doctor to come have him even come deliver the baby until 7 o'clock. And he didn't even get there until 7:05. So we were kind of really mad about that, because we had kept asking them, because my doctor, or my OB, didn't deliver my baby because they didn't call him. And he was there all day until 7 or 6 o'clock, I think, was when he was off. And we kept asking them, can you call the doctor? Can you call the doctor? And they never did. And so then I had whoever was on call deliver the baby. And what really made me mad, because pushing is not as literal as it sounds. It is tough. Like, it feels weird. It's just not natural to me. And I was trying. I was really trying, and all I remember really was hearing the nurse say she's not even trying. She's not even trying to push. And I was like, I am pushing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Can you tell me what I'm doing wrong so I can just get her out of here? I am pushing, and she was not having it. I had a really rude nurse. But that's all I really remember. Then at 7:09 I had her, and she was 8 pounds, 11 ounces, and she was 20 inches long and 13 inches around her head. So I did tear, but recovery was not as bad as I thought, but I'll give you more of that on the postpartum update. But that was my labor. So I was in labor for a total of 18 hours, and now little Caitlin is here, and it was all worth it, and it's been about 3 weeks now. So, anyway, that was my labor and delivery story. And here, oh, that's not a burp rag. Sorry, she just finished eating, so I will show you her. Here is Caitlin. Here she is again at 3 weeks old. Yeah. Gonna say hi. Yeah, you gonna look around? She's lifting up her head. So anyway, so we will see you all later. Say bye. Bye, guys.